To understand the visual file better, we need to know some of the technical terms. One of the first technical term is XSD. So the XSD stands for XML Schema Definition. Previously, people used to use a DDD format, but the extension, the next level to the DDD is XSD, XML Schema Definition. What is the purpose of this XML Schema Definition? This will specify the structure of the XML what we are defining. Whatever the XML document we are giving, the structure of the XML document is defined using XSD. So, what is the difference that you find between XSD and DDD? The older version is DDD, the new version is XSD. What is the difference that you find between XSD and DDD? In the DDD, with a very limited number of data types what we have. In the DDD, there are only limited number of data types what we have, and you cannot define your own data types. You are forced to use the data types which are given by DDD. DDD has only limited number of data types, and it will not allow you to define your own data types. User defined data types are not there. Derived data types are not there. You can only go for predefined data types which are given the DDD. But whereas when you go to the schema, when you go to the XML schema, it specifies, it has so many data types, predefined data types. It has a lot of predefined data types, and it allows you to go for predefined, it allows you to go for user defined data types or user derived data types. So the schema has already a rich set of data types. Schema already has rich set of data types. Second, it allows you to create your own data types, and it allows you to derive the data types from the existing data types. So it has a rich set of data types and allows you to create your own data types. Then in the DDD, we cannot avoid the naming conflict. In the schema, we have a concept called namespace, using which we can avoid the conflict. This is not the part of the web service. This is to understand the visual file. If somebody gives a visual file, how to understand the visual file for the sake we are learning. Right? This is for the understanding the visual file. Then, so XSD allows you to create your own data types, and elements are defined in the namespace. Every element should be defined. Every element should be defined in the namespace, and elements are referred using namespace. Like, let us see. If you remember in the programming, how we used to define messaging dot. What is messaging? Namespace. So all the email related programming is defined in the namespace called messaging. So that if you want to refer to that single email message, messaging dot single email message, messaging dot mass email message. All the classes which are required, all the classes which are defined to support the email services, they are defined in the namespace called messaging. Like that, your XSD has a namespace. Using that namespace, we will refer the elements. Right? What is the purpose of this namespace? This is to avoid conflict, naming conflict. This is to avoid a naming conflict. Okay. Then, what are the data types of the schema? XSD, we have simple type, complex type. Basically, there are two types of data types. What are they? Simple type, complex type. So, if you are learning here XML, then you are going to have built-in types, user-defined data types. Complex types may be empty, simple context, complex context. This is an in detail description about the data types. But high-end, your data types are classified into two types: simple type, complex type. I have given the detailed description about the schema data types. There is a simple type, again classified into two types: built-in types, user-defined data types. Built-in types are again classified into two types: primitive data types, derived data types. You don't need all this structure. But as a high-end, data types are classified into how many types? Two types. What are they? Simple type, complex type. Simple type, complex type. When you say simple type, what is a simple type? Simple type means it should not have any tail elements. It should not have any attributes. Element without tail elements, without attributes is called simple type. Simple type element will contain only text data. Simple type only contain text data. It will not have any subjects. It will not have any subjects, and it will not have any attributes. It will not have any attributes, and it will not have any subject. Simple type. It will not have any attributes. It will not have any subjects, tail elements. Okay. Complex type. When you say complex type, what does it mean? Complex type, it contains the tail elements. It contains the attributes. It may contain the tail elements and attributes both of them. So complex type means any element which has a tail element, any element which has a tail, or any element which has an attribute, or any element which has both, they are called complex type. Complex type we have tail element or attributes or both of them. So basically we have what? Simple type, complex type. There are two types of element, simple type and complex type. How do you define the complex type? If you want to define the complex type, look at the format. If you say simple type, it is going to be element, name of the element, type of the element. It is a simple type. Simple type means name of the element, type of the element. When you say complex type, name of the element, I will define it. When you say complex type, element, name of element, element, name of the element. Within the element, we have to define complex type. We have element, name of the element. We have complex type. Within the complex type, we have sequence, or it can be a sequence, or I can also give all, or I can give choice. What is that? Element. Within the element we have complex type. We have a complex type. Within the complex type I can give either sequence, I can give all, I can give choice, any one. So when you say sequence, how do you define the sequence? In the sequence I am going to give element, name equal to, let us say, student name, type equal to this is how we are giving. So how do you define a complex type? Element, complex type, sequence, all or none, sequence, all, choice, sequence, all, choice, any one I have to give. Within that, element 1, element 2, element 3, what are the things you want to give? Are you getting my point? Simple element, complex type. Simple type and complex type. How many types of data types are there? Simple type or complex type. What is a simple type? When I say simple type, any element without chain element or data type is called simple element. Complex element is any element with a chain or attributes is called complex type. Are you clear about this? These are big. Next, we need to understand some other definition called target namespace. What is this target namespace? Look at this. We have packages, right? What are the two types of packages we have? Managed packages and unmanaged packages. What is the package? Collection of elements. It can be a class or an object or a field or it's a group of elements. Collection of elements we are going to call as package. Now anything that is available in the package, we are going to have namespace. We are going to call it the namespace. Namespace dot element. Namespace dot element. Package is a collection of elements. Package is a collection of elements. Package is a collection of elements. For every package, we are going to give a namespace. We are going to call namespace dot element. Namespace dot element. Like we got process dot plugin. Process dot plugin describe result. Messaging dot import email. Apex pages dot standard controller. Apex pages dot standard set controller. All these are what? Namespaces corresponding classes. Now here, target namespace. Where these elements are defined, where the elements are defined, All the elements whatever you want to use, where are those elements defined? All these elements are grouped under one name. Whatever the elements you are going to use, what are the elements you are going to define, all those elements are grouped under one name. That name is what? Target namespace. All the elements whatever you want to define, all the elements whatever you want to use, all of them are grouped under one name. This is called target namespace. The target namespace should always have a protocol. That may be HTTP or FTP or whatever it is. But it has to start with protocol. So here I give an example. What is my target namespace? HTTP captain4.com. So your target namespace should start with the protocol followed by name, like a website. Like a website. If you are a C developer or C++ or Java developer, how do you enter the package name? com.capital. Generally, if you want to define a package name in a program, how do you do? Com dot. What is it? Captain4.com. The reverse way of target namespace you are going to give. Right, boss? Target namespace. So all the elements of this XSD are referred using what? Target namespace. Where are all the elements are defined? In this target namespace. Where is this element defined? In this target namespace. If you want to refer to that element, how should you refer? Target namespace dot element. Target namespace dot element. Are you getting my point? Are you getting my point? Are you getting my point here? So this is the XSD file. Now this is the XSD file. How do you define the XSD file? I will give an example, but I will define one more. So I am giving here schema target namespace equal to now I want to define element name So this is the schema what I defined. This is the schema what I defined. This is the schema what I defined. Right. Now, when I define the schema, if I want to define the values, how do you define the values? Look at the format. What is the target namespace? What is the name of the target namespace? Satish Maila data. If you want to define any element, how should I define? I will define it like this. How should I define? HTTP Satish Maila in that. HTTP Satish Maila in that. What is the element we are defining? Last name is the element which is available in the namespace of target namespace of Satish Maila. In the Satish Maila.in namespace, we have an element called last name. I have taken a simple time. You want to define a complex type and define two elements. Okay, I am making very simple. Then, how I am defining? CP Satish Maila.in. But every time defining the target namespace colon element is becoming a complex one. Am I right or not? Every time if you define a target namespace, in the target namespace schema, target namespace elements, if I want to refer to the elements, target namespace colon element. It is becoming complex for me. To avoid this complexity, people have introduced one more format. What is that? XML namespace. What did they introduce? XML. This is the point why we discuss all these points. Because when you go for visual file, you find a lot of XML namespaces. This is the reason why I started all this story. Okay. Now, XML namespace. What is that XML namespace? Here I am giving. First I am giving it. Okay, I will explain the simple format. XML namespace equal to boss I'm saying I am taking the elements from satishmala.in. So what are the elements I'm using here? What are the elements I'm using here? What are the elements you are using? Where is the element called last name available? Last name element is available from XML namespace satishmala.in. First name is available from XML element called satishmala.in. Are you getting my point? Now we reduce the complexity of writing the namespace again and again. So what we have done? Simply we have given whatever the target namespace you want to use and define as XML namespace. But the problem is I can import more than one namespace. Now in the namespace 1 I have last name. Namespace 2 also I have last name. But in the namespace 1 last name is a text with 20 characters. In the namespace 2 last name is a text with 40 characters. Then what happened? Properties are changed. When I say last name, which last name? Is it the last name from the namespace 1 or the last name from the namespace 2? I can import more than one namespace. When you can import more than one namespace, from within namespace you are referring to the element. So to avoid this confusion, we can go with the prefix. I told XML namespace SFDC. So I'm giving SFDC. Suppose I have one more XML namespace. Then I'm giving next element. Here I'm giving tab. So what is cap? We are referring to the first name. This first name is referred from namespace called cap. In the cap target namespace, find out the meaning of that first name, get the properties. Are you getting? So the overall story what I want to convey is in a single XML document we can have multiple namespace. The purpose of the namespace is it will specify the properties of this element. What is the data type of this element? What are the restrictions of this element? Is it a simple type? Is it a complex type? All these properties are defined where? In the namespace. How many namespace we can have? Multiple. So first define the schema. Schema 1, XSD file 1, XSD file 2, XSD file 3. Every XSD file will have only one target namespace. XSD 1, namespace 1. XSD 2, namespace 1. Different expressions. XSD 1, here I am giving element. So this is one XSD file. Here I give age as it. One thing is missing. What is that? There is an error here. What is the error? Sequence. This is one XSD. Similarly, I am creating one more XSD. This is how we define. So how many schema definitions are defined? XSD1, XSD2. So I want to define the element. How to define the element? Schema, XML namespace, XML namespace, cap, we say XML namespace cap, what is the XML namespace, you define it. You got cap, right? Cap for the last name. So the meaning of the last name is taken from cap. The meaning of the last name is taken from cap. Cap is nothing but integration. Similarly, I am giving age. The meaning of this age is taken from integration. As for integration, what is the name of the age? We say name of the age is what? String. Name of the age is string. So I have given as per the student dot age, what is this? The meaning of this is integer. Are you getting my point? The definition of this element's last name age is taken from this namespace. Where are this namespace? They are in the XSD files. Are you getting my point? Right. The same thing we have to understand from visual files. Now the entire story we have seen, to understand that we have a basic idea about how the visual files are defined. Now it is not a part of our duty, but later on if we are getting any bugs, to understand why this bug is coming in terms of XML, to understand that we have just covered the basic idea about this format. Okay. Now, how do you define the web services using XML? Using the SOAP API. Let us go back to the web services using the SOAP API. Now I have some of the web services files here. Let me open. When you open, what are you finding here? Now, we are using WSDL. What is WSDL? XML namespace, look at the point. XML namespace, so schema result. So what are the definitions that we require? Wherever I am using SOAP column, there, here we got SOAP 112, SOAP 112, 12. All these definitions are defined where? Now we have XML TM. All the definitions of this TM are defined in this target namespace. SOAP PNC. Are you getting my point? XML namespace. Definitions of these are defined here. Definitions of these are defined here. Are you getting my point? The top one? Are you clear about this? Okay, fine. Next, reading schema. I hope you are clear. The top layer is clear. What is the top layer? We have a top layer of XML namespace. We can have multiple namespace, but target namespace will be only one. So let me go to the next one. Yeah. Go to this. Login.salesforce.com. Integration 6. Now, let us understand the visual file and what are the elements in the visual file, how to integrate using SOAP API. In the last class, already we defined some SOAP-based web services, right? The SOAP service example. Okay. Now, this is a SOAP API web service what we created. Generate a visual file. Now, look at this. What are we getting this? XML LS is what? XML namespace. What is that? XSD? It's a prefix abbreviation. This namespace can be referred with the XSD. So wherever we find XSD, Wherever you find the definition of the schema is available in w3.org. The definition of sequence is available in w3.org. The definition of element is defined in w3.org. The definition of element, complex type, all these definitions are available where? In the w3.org, right? The definitions of this element, wherever we are using XSD, the definitions of those elements are defined in w3.org. Are you clear about this format? Then we are using XML namespace. XML SOAP. If you are using anywhere SOAP, the definitions of these are defined in the. I hope you are clear with this format. Now understood this format? So in the top, what we are finding? XML namespace, target namespace. XML namespace and target namespace. Save it. I hope if you want to know the meaning of this, you know how to where to check. Right? If you want to know the meaning of this, where to check? Go to the namespace whose prefix is XSD. Go to the namespace whose prefix is XSD. That is the point basically I want to cover. Okay. Now once you got this, how many types of elements are here? Every SOAP API web service will have how many elements? 5 types of elements. What are the 5 types of elements we have? What are the 5 types? Service, binding, port type, message, types. So the service will have port name. The class in which the web services are defined, that class name is defined as port in the service. The class in which the web services are defined, the class names are defined as port. Look at this. Service, port, name of the class in which the SOAP API web service is defined. Name of the class in which the SOAP API web service is defined. Then what is the binding? The type of style. Which type of style? How many types of styles we have? How many types of styles we have? RPC style and document style. Which style is supported by the Salesforce? Salesforce is supporting which style? Document style. Salesforce is only supporting document style. Is RPC supported? RPC is not supported, only document is supported. In the document also, how many styles we have? Document encoded, document, okay, literal, document wrapped, document literal wrapped, document literal wrapped, right box? Document literal wrapped. So what is the document style that is supported? What is the style that is supported? Document wrapped, document literal wrapped files. Okay. Now document literal, document wrapped, document literal wrapped file. So basically Salesforce support what format? Look at this. Literal. What is the format? Document literal file. Document literal. So binding will say what style of document you are using. Then prototype says what are the list of operations that you are providing. The list of operations they are providing. And every operation is would have 2 messages. One is a request message, other one is response message. Every operation will have 2 messages. Request messages and response messages. Now, type will define what type of elements we are using. So if you look at the type, look at this element, complex type, sequence element, complex type, sequence element, complex type, sequence element, simple type, restriction, enumeration. Are you finding these points? So either it is a simple type or it's a complex type. Either it is a simple type or a complex type. Now looking at this, you got the structure of the visual file. So basically what is there in the visual? Service, binding, port type, messages, types. Service, binding, port type, messages, types. Type will contain elements. Which type of elements we are using? Which type of elements? Service will specify port name. Binding will specify style of binding, RPC or document. Port type will say type of operation. Messages will say all the input together, one message. All the output together for a method. All the inputs what you are using, it's a one message. All the outputs what you are using, it's one message. For one method, all inputs one message. All outputs one message. Every element of that input message is defined in type. Every element of output message is defined in type. I hope you are clear. I hope you are clear. People are clear with this format. Clear with this format. Right, boss? Am I clear? So let me go to the next. Now, I want to define my services. Let us understand the services. From Salesforce, I want to connect with another Salesforce. Now, if you are a consumer, one story. If you are a provider, another story. If you are a consumer, one story. If you are a provider, another story. Now, let me consume some of the visual files. First, I will try to consume some of the Java files and .NET files and make an example. So, I am going with the. So, the definition of visual file is clear. Every element in the visual file is clear. Am I clear? Visual stands for what? Web service, descriptive language. In the visual file, how many elements will be there? Service, binding, code type, message, type. In the type, what will be? Simple type, complex type. So, in the message, for operation, all the inputs are considered as one message. All outputs are considered as one message. For method, all inputs, one message. All outputs, another message. Okay. Code type, what type of operations we are providing? What type of operations we are providing? Then binding, style of the binding. What type of style? RPC, document. Then service, list of service classes. Name of the ports, port classes. The classes in which the services are defined, they are given in service. Okay. So if you go to the service, you know what is the main class. If you want to know where is the main class, I will go for what? Service. Okay. Now I will try to consume some of the Java files and .NET files. Hopefully, I already have the files. Just give me one file. I will just get the digital files. I already have some digital files. Right. So I have some sample visual files. I will try to consume one by one. I have a different technology and different files. Now, I have visual files. I will try to consume. First, I will try to consume global. How do you consume the visual file? Java people gave some visual file. Okay. Now, it doesn't matter to me whether it's a Java or .NET or anything, because ultimately you are going to give what? Visual file. Now, you may be Java, you may be SAP, you may be SQL. It doesn't matter to me. Ultimately, you are going to give me visual file, which I am going to consume and use it. So, how do you consume? Setup. Develop. FX classes. So, what are you finding there? Generate from. Generate from visual file. Generate from visual file. Use the file. Visual file. I'm going with global. Consume the visual file. Parse. Now what happened? Failed to parse. Why? There are multiple port types. It only supports single port. Salesforce will support only single port. Only one class has to be there. One main class has to be there. So, if you look at the file, so we have taken multiple ports are there. I think I removed it already. So multiple port types are there. When you have multiple port types, where is that binding? Here, multiple bindings, multiple port types. You have a lot of story here. Multiple. How many port types are there? 4 port types. Port type 1 for one class, one port. For one class, one port. So we have multiple port types. Because of which we got an error. What should I do? I have to remove the initial port types, or I have to split the same visual file into multiple visual file. Class 1, service, port 1, port type. Every port will have one binding will have one port type. So split them into multiple visual files. Now in this case, what I am doing, what are the extra port types are there, I am going to remove them. Remove them. Then how many port types are there now? How many port types are there? Only. So how many port types are there? Only one type. Are you getting my point? So Salesforce will not support multiple port types. The first, while consuming the visual files, did you encounter any error? Yes. What is the first error? The visual file what we have as multiple ports, Salesforce doesn't support multiple ports, so we got an error. So how did you resolve it? We split the visual file into multiple visual files. How did you split? One port, associated bindings, associated port types, associated messages, associated types in one separate file. Port type, splitting the visual file into multiple visual file. Then let us see. I have modified the visual file, consume it. So what I am doing? Go to this, choose the file, modify. Parse the visual file. When you parse, global weather. So class are created. Once it is created, your work is done. Only the problem is, till the visual file is converted into effect class. Once it is converted, what is this? Class. If it is a class, you know how to use the class. How will you use the class? Create an object.method. If a class is there, how to use the class? Create an object for the class, use the method. So what I am doing here, go to the global method. This is the class. Global method. What is the inner class that we have? What is the main class? Main class is global method. So when you are consuming, it is asking what is the class name you want to give. So it is the outer class. What is the main class? Main class is global method. Outer class dot inner class. In this class, there is a method called get cities by country or get. There are two methods available. One method is get cities by country. Other method is get weather. Are you getting my point? There are two methods. How do you call these methods? If you want to call this method, let me do it from the debug console directly. Global weather dot global weather scope outer class dot inner class. So once the class is created, outer class dot get what is the mother name? Get cities by So how I am calling outer class dot inner class object dot method. Then when you want to print this data, first thing what you need to do is whenever you are making a request to third party system, what is the primary thing that I have to do? Whenever you are making a request to third party system, register the third party system with remote site settings. Security controllers, remote site settings, new remote site setting, Then go to this. Now, is there any difficulty in this? What is the difficulty? Converting the result to class is only difficulty. Once the class is created, what happened? Once class is created, there is no difficulty. Straight away we can use it. Now what happened? We are getting some data here. So what is this? India, Ahmedabad, India, we are getting what? XML. We are getting the response in the form of what? XML. You parse the XML, get the data. So they give one Java file. I converted the Java file into Apex class. Then outer class dot inner class, object dot method. Object dot method. Are you clear about this format? What is the next method they give? Get whether city name and country name. Let us see. We are not seeing the documentation. Straight away I am doing the example. Let us see if beginning. They are giving city name, data not found. So they don't have the data regarding the Delhi city. It is not there. The corresponding data is not available in the server. So if you want to know which data is available with them, go to the documentation and see what type of data they already contain. They will give some list of countries and places. We will give only the corresponding data. Right. So, right box. So what is it? What we have done in the case, WSDL file is given to you. You consume the WSDL file in the Salesforce. You got an Apex class. Once you got the Apex class, how do you know which is the main class? Once you consume the Apex class, how do you know which is the main class? How do you know which is the main class? Go to service. The service, what are we find here? Global weather. So, right? This is the main class. There is a main class. This main class will be available where? Within the outer class. While you consuming the visual file, you are going to give a name. You are going to give a name. Whatever the name you have given, that is the outer class. Outer class dot inner class. Outer class dot inner class. Am I clear with this? People have followed this? People have followed? Any further queries from your end? Clear? Let me define one more example. Let me define one more example. How do you consume the visual file? Setup, build, develop, Apex classes, generate from visual, choose the file. On my desktop I have some data, parts. Now what is that? File contain more than one format. So we need to solve it. Now it is resolved. So what we are getting here? Stock code. Go to the class. In a class, what are you going to get? Look at this one. Stock code. So what you are getting here? Get code string symbol. If you give a symbol, it is going to give a quotation. If you give a symbol, it is going to give a quotation. How do you use this class? Outer class dot inner class object dot get. Once it is consumed, it's very easier. This is a consumption only problem. Once it is consumed, it's very easier. I hope you are clear. People are clear with this. Okay. Let us do with some more files and see different types of errors what we are going to get. Now we understood that once it is consumed, everything is common. Doesn't make a difference to me what type of service it is. Whether it may be Java, it may be .NET, it may be PHP, doesn't make a difference. Once it is converted into Apex class, object or method. But while consuming, there are different types of problems what we are going to get. So we need to worry about those type of problems what we are going to get. So let us see one by one problem. I'll go to the next one. Generate visual file. Choose the file. My materials. Visual files, integration. Visual file I have. Let us see. Okay. Jira. One Jira file. Jira. Visual file from the Jira. Import. The structure of the file is not well formed. The structure of the file is not formed. There is an attribute. The value of the name cannot be null. So when you give an attribute name should be given. So in the visual file, they created an attribute, but the name of the attribute is not given. As the name of the attribute is not given, same goes, the name of the attribute cannot be null. So what is that? The schema definition is wrong. The way you define the schema is wrong. The schema definition, name cannot be null. The attribute name cannot be null, but you have given an attribute name as a null. Okay. So this is the one bucket. Let me take one more file. I'll take NetSuite CRM. I'm taking one of the NetSuite CRM visual file. I'm trying to consume different error files. Then you get an understanding of different. What is it? Found schema import from a location. External schema not supported. So what was this? Whatever the schema you are doing, you can give the schema definition should be a part of this. External schema is not. Like this, I told use this schema. That schema will import another schema. So you have to define all the schema within the definition only. The schema definition should be in the visual file only. You have to define what is complex type, what is element. All the type of element should be defined within the type. You cannot define the schema definition outside and include it in the visual file. The schema definition should be included within the visual file only. External schema definition is not supported in the Salesforce. Salesforce will not support export or import of these schema definitions. In the visual file, schema definition should be a part of the visual file under the type. It will not support import or export of the visual files. Import or export of schema types. Import or export of schema types are not supported. These are other errors. I'll give a list of all the errors at one time. The next, I'm going for another one. I'll go with one SAP file. Okay, I'll go with one SAP file. Come again? Already. Now you also should take 1,000 batches. Then your data will come. Right. So I have taken RPC. Now what is this? We are getting here. What was this? Unsupported style called RPC. I told you. Salesforce doesn't support RPC format. Salesforce doesn't support RPC format. Salesforce doesn't support RPC format. So tell me what are the errors we got? Malformed, ill-formed schema structure. Ill-formed schema structure. Multiple ports. Multiple port types. Multiple port types. Multiple binding also you get. The error may be multiple port type, multiple binding, any one. Because the file of what I got is I removed binding already. That's the reason you got port type. Otherwise you get multiple binding, multiple port type. Any one error you are going to get. Multiple binding, multiple port types. 3 errors. 4th error is ill-formed schema structure. 5th error is export. Okay, schema import is not supported in the Salesforce. Next one is RPC format not supported. RPC format not supported. Okay. Now I will consume one SQL file. So this is a SQL order management file. I am taking the SQL file. Any work here? These are successful files. Already issues are resolved. Only to tell you that irrespective of the technology, format is same. I gave a SQL file, I consumed it. Anything wrong? Now once you got the structure, what is the solution for this? You consumed. Once you consumed, what is the structure we have? Once you consumed, what is the structure? Go to civil file. What is the class we have? Outer class, inner class, outer class, inner class. Then what is the method they give? Calculate. What is that? Calculate. So outer class dot inner class, object dot calculate price. So procedure is same. So only the problem is while consuming, if there is any error, there is a problem. Once it is consumed, the process in which we invoke is the same. The procedure in which we are going to invoke is the same. Right, boss? I hope you are clear with this format. Clear with this format. Everyone has followed this. Now, this is consuming the external files. This is consuming the external files. Now the problem starts. What if you want to provide a service to third party? Now, you want to provide a service to third party. So, if you want to provide a service to third party, then immediately they'll ask you, what type of service you are giving? Are you sharing a partner visual file? Are you sharing an enterprise visual file? When you want to consume, people will ask you immediately, what is the type of visual file you are giving? Partner visual file or enterprise visual file? Now, what is the difference between, first of all, any query regarding this concept? People have what? People have got the structure. How many elements? Okay, what is a visual file? Type of elements in the visual file? What is the namespace? What is the XSD? Right? Then what type of errors we are getting? Once it is consumed, how to create an object and invoke the service? Yeah. That this is not three classes. All the wrapper classes which are complex shapes are there. All the complex shapes are created as wrapper classes. File is one. So types are created as one. One file has what? All the list of wrapper classes. Okay. Now here we is giving what? SQL code, list code. What is the list code? List code is one of the wrapper class. Where is the wrapper class defined? In another class. Class is only one. All the complex types are defined as one wrapper classes in second classes. Okay. Right box. Okay. Now we'll try to understand partner visual, enterprise visual, how to configure it. Now look at the format. Right. If you are going for a enterprise visual file. Now, at the time of creating an enterprise visual file, I hope we already discussed a quick idea about the enterprise and partner, right? What is this? I have enterprise. In the enterprise, I have object. We got this. Now I created a enterprise visual file. When I created a enterprise visual file, then the enterprise visual file, the Xml file will contain, visual file will contain element, employee, that's name, element voice, so each and every definition about the element will be defined. What are the objects are there? What are the fields are there? What are the classes are there? Everything is defined. All the information about the objects and fields are defined in the visual file. When you consume this file, if everybody consume this file, they will understand that in the Salesforce organization, they have employee, name, right. Then after 1 month, I added a few fields here. Employee, city. You add a few fields. Are these fields are available in the visual file? No. When I generated the visual file, what are the fields are there? All those fields definitions are there. Then, if I give the visual file, they only get the information about name and phone. The changes what I made in this organization will not be known to the consumer organization, because at the time of generating the visual file, what all the elements are there, only the definition of those elements are defined, and the person who is consuming, you will be only knowing the definition of those elements. New elements definitions are not transferred. If I want to give that new element, what should I do? Again generate one more visual file, share the new visual file. When I share the new visual file, you will get the information about employee name, phone, city, salary, invoice, amount. Then again, after 1 month, I made a changes. Now, are the changes are converted to consumer? No, because the visual file only contains name, phone, city, salary, invoice number, amount. Now again, if I want to convey these changes, generate one more visual file and give it. So, when you go for enterprise visual file, the changes what you made in the source organization will not be reflected to target organization. If you want to reflect to the target organization, again we have to generate one more visual file and give. So every time generate a new visual file, they have to consume it, write the program again. Write the program again. Are you clear about this? Right. Same if it is a partner visual file. If it is a partner visual file, in a partner visual file, they don't define the elements and the elements. They only give what? Schema dot. They only give schema dot global stack. When they say schema dot global stack, it will give you what? List of all the objects, list of all the fields available at that time. It is not saying which objects are available, which fields are available. When you are running, there is a schema dot get global stack. At that moment, what all the objects are there, what all the fields are there, all those data is retrieved. All those data is retrieved. Are you clear about this format? Are you clear about it? So there's a reason partner visual file will be shared with the partner. When you want to go for a version based product, then the people go with the enterprise. If you want to share the data to your partners commonly, I'll go with the partner visual file. I hope you are clear. So in the partner visual file, what happened? The changes made in the source organization will automatically be reflected to the target organization. In the enterprise visual file, changes made to the source organization will not be reflected to the target organization. I hope I am clear. People are clear about this? Right. Now let us see how to use this partner visual file and retrieve the services. No, one time. Because in the partner visual file, I don't give object definition of those. I have only schema definition. So whoever is calling the schema method, they get all the objects which are available. At that moment, what all the objects are there, they will come. In the enterprise visual, why I am changing? Because enterprise visual doesn't have schema definition, it has every element definition. So if you want to know what are the new elements in the target, you have to change the visual file. Did the people get my concept? Am I clear? Am I clear with this? People follow? Yeah. Enterprise visual means they give the definition about every element available at the object. At the time of creating the enterprise visual file, at that moment, what all the objects are there, what all the fields are there, their definitions are mentioned in the visual file. So, right now if I have ABC objects, the definition of ABC object will be there in the visual file. Now when you consume, you know that in the target object, the source, you have ABC object. Later on, if you make any changes in the source organization, add XYZ object, the definition of this XYZ is not there in the visual. So the target organization never understand that there is a new object in the source organization. If you want to convey what all the objects are available at this moment, again generate one more visual file, give. When you generate one more visual file, ABC, XYZ, then it is consumed. Later on, if you make any changes, that will not be known to the target. Again, we have to generate. So every time you make any changes on the source organization, you have to give one new visual file. When you say partner, in the visual file, they don't give the definition about the objects and fields. They only give schema.global stack. So when it's given, when the partner executes the schema.global stack, at that moment, what all the objects are there, they will be retrieved. That's why one-time partner visual file, enterprise visual file should be shared number of times. Right, boss? I hope you're clear. Now let's go to the next. Now, I want to generate the service. All these people belong to 6 o'clock batch, right? 8:30. After the class playback, I'll try to give access to my site. Now, these people are trying to create a web service. This organization is trying to create a web service. I am creating a web service. This is a third-party system, not your account. It is a third-party system which is defining a web service. Now it doesn't matter to you what is this. It may be Salesforce, it may be SAP, it may be SQL. Doesn't matter. Finally, we are going to get what? We are going to get a visual file. Web service. Starting. We are going to give mode is greater than 0. Then I have to give what should I do actually? JSON message I have to create. I will create what? JSON message. I will create a JSON message. Duplicate record form. So should I give a JSON message or XML message? I will go for what? XML message. Because it is SOAP API, I will generate XML message. So I don't want to go with XML again. So I just start away giving this. But generally what type of message we give? XML. Otherwise, there is no duplicate record. This is the service I created. This is a service. This is a third party system creating a following services. Now this system want to share a service to Salesforce. Okay. Now here who is the provider? Salesforce is the provider. Salesforce only the consumer. Two Salesforce systems are trying to communicate. Then what they are doing? They are sharing partner visual file. Setup, build, develop, API. What you are finding here? Partner. Go with the partner visual file. Go to partner visual file. Save this file. Partner visual file. So partner visual file is edited. Second, this is the class what you want to control. First, organization 1 is giving partner visual file to organization 2. First, let us see connection. Then I will go for service. So, what is this organization, boss? What is the organization? Go with this organization. Manage users. What is the username of this organization? Batch 0298 capital.com. Then I am trying to create a security token. How do you create a security token? My settings, functional, reset security token. Generate the token. So the security token is sent to you are the security token. Right. So go back to this. What this organization will do? This is your account. It is integration account. Your integration account. So what I am doing in the integration account? Set up, develop, effects classes, generate from. What is the file we have? Desktop I have partner visual file. Partner visual file. Pause. Right. Then it has given error. What is that? Box. We don't have any definition called any type in the schema. There is a data type called any type. According to my schema, there is no element called any type. So what should I do? Replace any type. Replace any type with. So we got an error saying that any type in the schema, in the visual file, they say data type called any type. So the Salesforce is not able to understand what is the meaning of that any type. So I changed that any type to string. Go back again. Choose the file. Parse the visual file. So, example. There was an error. I fixed that error. Now I am trying to convert it. Things are set properly. Then I am going to the class. The classes are created. Go to another one. What is that? Partner. So, when you open this, what you are finding here? You are finding a class called. You are finding a method called login. What is the inner class? I have a class called so. So when you consume this, we are going to get a class. What is the class we got? Public class soap. In the class soap, what we are getting? There is a method called login. In that login method, what we have? Username, password. Right. This login method is same like your exports.connection.login. You remember index call? In the index call, what we made? Connection.this, exports.connection.login, username, password, same. but that is a scripting. This is a sales effect programming. Okay. Then what is the other one they got? They got here login result. There is a class called login result. In the login result, what are we find here? Session. So finally, the class will be like this. When you consume the partner result file, public class partner soap in this partner soap I have public class login result in the login result we have public string and we have one more class here public class. So this is how the structure is created. When you consume the class, what you are going to get is in this structure. Public partner soap dot login result. This is the structure of the class which is created. Now, how to use this class? Tell me. If you want to use this class, how to use this class? Partner soap dot. What is the inner class? Partner soap dot soap. Let's be equal to this is how we create an object. Am I right? Outer class dot inner class. If you are calling a method, called login. What do you call? Partner soap dot login result equal to what do you call the method? sp dot login username comma now how you are going to call outer class dot inner class then in the sp class soap class we have a login method. When you call login, what it is going to do? Partner soap dot login result. What is the return type of this method? Partner soap dot login result. What is the return type? Partner soap dot login result. So we got a return type as partner soap dot login result. The login result we have. What is the ID we have? Session. I hope you are clear with this format. I hope you are clear. So this is how we got it. Now let us see. Public void. What are you calling? Partner soap dot soap sp equal to partner dot login result equal to what should I do? sp dot login Salesforce 1, 2, 3. Then we have what happened? I give username password. This is how we are connecting. Once you connected, we are going to get some result. Public Console dot. What happened? I am giving a username, password plus secret token, which is giving me result. In result, what we have? Session ID. Login result class have what variable? Login result has session ID. Now, this is establishing a connection between these two systems. There we are getting REST API access token. Here we are getting what? Session ID. In the REST API we are getting what? Access token. Here we are getting session ID. Okay. Let me print this. In the 40.0 version onwards, session ID is not going to be printed on the pages. Okay. In the debug console, session IDs are not printed. Whether we have all if it's mandatory, yes, obviously it's mandatory. If your IP address is not whitelisted, okay, security token is not mandatory if your IP address is whitelisted. If your security token is whitelisted, if your security token is whitelisted, you don't need this reset security token. If your IP address is not whitelisted, it's a mandatory that you have to provide security token. Now what happened? We got the session ID. So if the session ID is created, I am able to connect both the system. I can make request to whatever the service. So how did you make a request? They gave you a partner visual file, you consumed, you got outer class called soap class. In the soap class we have a method called login. Within that login method I have to give username, password plus security token. Username, password plus security token. I have to give username, password plus security token. Once I give the security token, then I am going to get a session ID. Now, the next part. This is the first story. Once the first story is completed, the second story. Until you reset your security token, the same old security token will run. If I create a security token today, for next 3 years, if I don't reset my security token, same session ID will be used, same security token will be used. Security token will be changed only when you modify the security token. Until you reset the security token, the same old security token can be used for entire operation. Right? Only when you reset the security token, it will change. Otherwise, same old security token can be used for number of transactions. Right? Now, what I will do? I will give the diagram for to understand the flow. Now, this third-party system also generated what? One service, right? Then I am generating this service. Understand this, boss? It will be a bit confusing here. I'll make it a bit easier. Who is this person? Third-party system. Third-party system is giving this web service. So what should I do? This is your integration code. First understand, I will explain the flow once again. First understand the service. Now what I am doing? Generate from WSDL. Choose the file. Account column. Pass. Now class is created. Now understand this class carefully. Now what is our class? Our class is account call. What is the main class? External call. Right. Now here the structure is going to be like this. Here we are finding here input address, output address, certificate name, and we are getting here session header. Look at the format. What is the external call? Is the name of the class which is created. Public class. The public class we have public class. Session element. What is the main class I have created? Account. Account call. Now public. Session public. Then what is the method we have given? This is the structure what we got. Finally, this is the structure what we got. When you consume the file, this is the structure what we got. So if you want to use this service, what should I do? How to use the service, tell me? First, external call dot account equal call. We create an object. Once we create an object, then we need to say EC dot session header equal to EC dot, what is the element here? Session header equal to new external call dot go again. EC dot session header equal to fine. EC dot session header. In the inner class, we have an element called session header equal to new external call dot session header. Now, EC dot session header dot session ID equal to, in the session header, what is the element we have? In the session header, what is the element we have? Session ID. Session header is a class. In the class, what is the variable we have? Session ID. So EC dot session header dot session ID equal to session ID what we generated the above step. First we created session ID, right? We call that. We need to set that ID here. We need to set ID. So whatever the session ID we created the first step, that session ID we have to pass here. Once you pass, then we are going to say EC dot. It's not method box, it's a class. Session header element, yeah. It's session header element. So what is our intention? Whatever the session header is there, for the session header, we have to pass the session ID what we got. Alright. So let me give you. First, let me finish one example, then I'll come back and explain everything. So I'm creating it. What is the name of the class? I'm going to follow. C equal to. Then we have easy dot session header equal to new we have easy dot session header dot session ID session. I can say result dot session. We are passing the session. Once you pass the session ID, then I have to call easy dot create integration 96. This is how I have created. So what was that? Here subscription everything. Result equal to easy dot create there is some bug we are getting. What is this bug? Illegal assignment from string to login result. Okay. Login result. Where are you getting the login result? Result dot. Sorry, we already got a result here. We got a bug here. Okay. Already I used the variable called result. So it's O-line. So we got the data. First let us see the example. Then we'll come back to each and every step. So go back to the VF page. Have a preview. So what is that? Record is created successfully. You got an ID. Take this ID, go to Opera. This integration 96, right? So from the organization, record was created here using a web service. Now understand the service. I'll give it one more time. I have already given the clear steps in the documentation. What is the soap material, right? I already mentioned, but listen to the forward page. First, step 1. Create. Step 1, create. Account call out service. We are getting account call out web service. What is the web service I created? The first step, create record covered web service. This is a web service class which I have created. So this is a web service class what I created. This is organization. Let us say this is this ICS application. Then once I created this, what is step number 2? Generate. How did you generate a visual file? Setup, build, develop, setup, build, develop, Apex classes, then account, hello, general visual, so this is how we generated the visual file. Then step number 3, generate partner visual file. How are you generating the partner visual file? Setup, build, create, save the visual file. Create a new profile. You read. Step number 5, create a new user. Integration user profile. Create a new user with integration user profile. Let's say username. For integration, you will not use system administrator permission, right? Generate. Generate security token. How do you generate a security token? Personal username, my settings. Personal username, my settings. Personal username, my settings. Personal. Then once you are done with this, share the following. What is that? What are the things you are going to share? One is So this is the steps from the service provider. If you are a service provider, the Salesforce. If you are a service provider, these are the steps what we are following. If I am a service provider in the Salesforce, I will follow the following steps. This is if I am a service provider. Okay. If you are a service consumer, what you are going to do, then I will do next. Is that was clear? If you are a provider, what you have to do? Is that was clear? Then I am going with the next one. Service consumer. Generate Apex class using partner.user. Generate Apex class using partner.user file. How do you generate? Setup, build, develop, setup, build, develop Apex classes. User file. One class. Change the class name. Partner. These are like I modified the three classes. Then second class partner. So how the class sector is going to be public class partner. So the partner so class we have inner class. For the inner class we have public class. The sub class we have public partner. So similarly we have one more inner class also. Public class. This is how the class will be generated. You can use this class, generate. We can use this class to generate the section ID. How to use this? how we got it. How do you think? How do you get this study? Is that not? Is that was clear for everyone? Is that was clear? Is that was clear? The next step. This is the first partner.digital file. Then what is the next class? What is the navigation? Setup, build, develop, fetch classes, generate from itself. Class. When you give this external call, the class will be generated again. In which format the class will be generated? Now the class, how the class will be generated? Public class external call. Look at my structure and the code what I have written, you will understand it. So call. External call we have public class section public class public external dot public string create. This is how the class is created. This is how this class is created. This is how the class is created. Now we need to invoke the service. How do you invoke the service? How do you invoke the service? Right. Before that, I will give you how the procedure is going. No. How we are doing this? Tell me. External call dot account is equal to external call out. Now we are going to give EC dot. If you don't want to have a headache, I can also give other format. External call dot session header element is equal to create a object for the section development. Then error dot is equal to generated from then we're going to give EC dot either I can use this format or I can use this format. Anything, whichever you feel is easy for you, you can use. Both will be the same. Okay. Then what you are doing? Cause the side generated causing method. Then once you are done, so what should I do? Invoke the method. What do you invoke the method? EC dot EC dot is the weekly. I hope you are clear with this. Now I give step by step, just go through each and every line I have given. Again, all clear steps to be able to follow this. Right, Emma? Clear for everyone? Okay. Now, in the SOAP API, if you are using the SOAP API, there are two elements here. Look at this. The title is make it fast. The copy make it fast. Here na. Press open చేసి మన ప్రోగ్రామ్ రెడీ చేస్తుంటే ప్రోగ్రామ్ వద్ద ఉంటాయి. దసరాకు ఒకసారి, బక్రీద్కి ఒకసారి, సేల్స్ ఫోర్స్ నేర్చుకున్నాం ఒకసారి ఓపెన్ చేసినాం. ఇంత ఉంటాయి. For your learning integration, you should be very comfortably writing 100 to 120 lines of code minimum you should write. If you are not writing 100 to 120 lines of code minimum, integration will not be suitable to you. I told you at the beginning only. Before you go for learning the integration, you should have good knowledge on development. So people who are not able to write at least 100 lines of code, there is no use of learning the integration. I told you that day one, I am also telling now. People should be comfortable with the development, then only they understand.